What is up, honeys? It's KingBritneyChanel, and I'm back with part 2 of addressing the Kevin Samuels effect. In this episode, we're going to be talking about men and rulership, and also we're going to be talking about men and accountability in this, this particular. I decided to make it like a series. Like, whenever I feel like something needs to be addressed about the Kevin Samuels effect that's going on with men, or like with the whole what do they call it on YouTube, like the manosphere or something like that, I'm gonna talk about it. So if you like these sort of videos, go ahead and thumbs up the video, like, comment, and subscribe, share the video, and let's get started. I hope y'all enjoy.
I already know it's your girl Brittany Chanel.
Alright, so what is up, you all? I hope y'all are having a blessed and prosperous day. So I decided to do a follow-up video. Like, in the first video, a lot of y'all got the point that I was saying about the accountability, and then there were still some men that were whining and complaining about the accountability of women and all this other delusional stuff. And I never said in my video that people should not be held accountable. What I said was that the level of accountability and responsibility is different from the man, because the man is the head. Like, men is supposed to be in a leadership position. And I explained to y'all the reason how man got out of position. And I gave y'all the whole backstory of grandfather Adam and grandmother Hawa. Or Eve, how y'all might call, some of y'all might call her. Or, I'm still working on my Hebrew. It's a work in progress. But nonetheless, okay, basically, Adam hearkens to the voice of his wife instead of listening to what Yah told him to do, which Yah is his authority. Yah is all of our authority, okay? Let's don't get it twisted. But in the hierarchy, okay, Hamashiach is over man, meaning that divine authority is there, and then man is the head over woman. And so what man decided to do was not listen to what Yah said, and basically listen to Eve, because he was more impressed with Eve, or trying to keep up with appearances of a woman, instead of doing what his divine role was to protect and cover woman and keep her away from dangers and stuff, that danger being the serpent. And so because he had to get punished for that, the punishment and the judgment for that was him losing his rightful place in leadership, because he forfeited his authority to the woman. Okay, now do y'all understand? That's why basically y'all really went to Adam, our grandfather, for accountability. That's your grandfather if you are a so-called African American, okay? If you have ever taken a DNA test, that is where it's going to tie you to. It's going to tie you to Nigeria, Ghana, Cameroon, Congo, Mali, Benin, Togo, all of those places. Why? Because when the whole situation happened to where we were scattered, a lot of us, to flee, a lot of us, we fled into Africa. Or a lot of us was sent to Africa due to, the conversion to Christianity and all that stuff, our scrolls being taken, all that stuff. Y'all know. If you family, Shalom to family. But all that has something to do with why man is not in his rightful position, okay? So also, it was man's own actions. So grandfather Adam, basically, when Yah asked him, why did you not listen to what I told you to do? And you follow woman. And he basically was like, it was that woman, he blamed the woman. And what do you see these men doing today? Not taking accountability, but blaming the woman. All the while yelling to the top of their lungs that I'm the leader, I'm king. Do you ever see the CEO of any company or any big wig individual yelling out, I'm the CEO? Do you ever see it? Do you ever see that? No, you don't, because only a person with low self-esteem has to do that, okay? Only somebody that is dealing with like narcissism or wants to be known has to do that. The CEO come in, it's just a command presence. You know who you're dealing with. You could clearly see he's walking around commanding presence. But like I said, the CEO of a company does not have to constantly profess that they are in a leadership role. Our men, do you notice that they love to do that? I'm the king, and I'm a king, and I'm this, and I'm, men rule over women, and that means, and I'm going to explain what that means, because a lot of these men, and like I said, ladies, if you are from the tribes, even if you just a woman and you just, baby, you want to be put up on game, let me tell y'all something for real, for real. Men have no idea what that word rule means. I'm getting ready to break it down for y'all. When you read our book, the Torah, the Bible, y'all call it the Bible if you English. When you read our book, you got to read that book from a Hebraic perspective. You got to take it all the way back to the original, because certain things have been changed. When you speak English, English is a totally profane language. Everything you say, you think you saying one thing and you saying something entirely different. That's why I take that scripture so serious that say life in DEATH is in the power of the tongue, because I believe that. Words are powerful. Okay? That's why prayer is powerful. That's why when you pray the word of Yah back to him, he going to honor his word, because his word will never return void. Okay? So just keep that in mind. Like I said, them folks that be speaking them word curses over folks and all the rest of that stuff, you'll get yourself in trouble when you read that book. And you got to be careful when you try to give yourself positions. A lot of these men out here is talking about they men in truth and they got these positions. You have to be careful, because if you don't know what you're talking about, baby, you could be in error and get yourself in trouble. Like, understanding that book, the Torah, it takes studying. That's why it says study to show thyself approved, because you could misinterpret something that you think because it's in English, and you think and have you saying something entirely different than what our forefathers actually meant. Now let's talk about the word rule via the English definition, okay, because you got to look stuff up both places. The English definition of rule means to guide, to direct, right? Think about the ruler as an instrument, right? All right, let's look at my keyboard here. All right, let's look at my keyboard. So this is a straight line, right? Like this bottom. Of course, it has this little curvature here. But if I was to take like a pen or something and I needed to trace a straight line, that means it's guiding me on a straight line, right? So Yah is our ruler and the head over our lives. And what does he try to instill in us? Guidance, values in his word that is going to direct us and keep us on the straight and narrow path, right? The path of righteousness. Because that path is narrow, meaning it's a straight line. That's what rulership is. So Adam, when he was told to rule over the woman, not as a tyrant, but guide her. You were here first. I took her from you. So you guide her according to what I told you to do. Not no Jezebelic control spirit of, oh, I want to control you and get you to do all of my will. Not your will, but Yah's will. Okay? So Yah be the glory. Because some of y'all men got it twisted. And ladies, y'all got to be careful of these men that's out here with this. But thank Yah Most High that there's actually men, because shout out to my subscribers, y'all sent me. So basically, you guys, one of my subscribers, shout out to my subscribers, you guys, thank you so much, revealed to me that there are actually, which I knew that there were some men out there who were righteous and who actually had righteous beliefs on how men should treat women. That there was a content creator called The Honest Truth out here who actually was, has similar points to what I said about men and accountability and how it can help the melanated community and how it can restore order by men taking their rightful place, taking responsibility and accountability. And if you want the title of ruler, or you want to be a leader, then it comes with great responsibility. You don't get anything in life that is a great thing without a level of responsibility. Like, think about, okay, because I'm going to play a clip from his panel that he did. He did a live show. I think he did a panel also. Think about this in life. Everything that you do, you have to work up into, right? There's a responsibility, right? Like, so when we're children, in order to get an allowance, if you got an allowance as a kid, you had to work hard to get that reward, right? You have to, it's the same getting like spiritual power from Yah. You have to go through your trials and your tests, and there's a great reward at the end. So it's like when you think about man and their role, their reward is if they do right by women, by getting a wife, they obtain favor from Yah. Greatness takes great sacrifice to get that reward at the end of it all, okay? Like putting the work in, if you're a person of truth, putting the work in, letting your light shine in the world, okay? But this person, the honest truth, that was speaking on his platform was basically saying, like, we are in times where a lot of these men, they have been traumatized, they have gone through stuff, and it's just like they haven't dealt with that. So they have like some of these toxic traits, and they teach other men to follow these toxic traits. And the reason that we have to address it is so the next generation of young men that are watching are not growing up to resent women. They're not growing up to hate women. They're not growing up to be disrespectful, and just to keep this foolishness going to where it is causing destruction in the melanated community, okay? So that is why it's important to address these Kevin Samuels, these guys that have this like alpha, beta. Like, first of all, if you're a melanated man and you're up here talking about alpha or beta, like, are you, listen, because I know who I am, like, ethnic wise, okay? Ethnic wise, okay? I don't do no Greek type of stuff. I'm so sorry. Like, I don't, it's like, how is that productive for me? Like, as a melanated woman, like as a Hebrew woman, how is that productive for me to be participating in Greek ideology? I'm unapologetically, okay, happy about my heritage, okay? I'm not going to be following their ideals. This is what I'm talking about. Following this these people practices, and they don't have no idea what alpha and beta is. Like, if you know, because those of us that are well studied knows that you don't want to be no alpha or no beta. Like, this is how you know. This is why I say study to show thyself approved, because you don't want to be an alpha or a beta. But they giving these ideologies to your youth that's melanated, and that's not their heritage. So therefore, they already confusing their minds. Okay, so it's like you got two things going on. You got victim ideology going on and lack of accountability going on. Because that, whoa, the woman you gave me, y'all didn't even go for that excuse. So they gonna, if they don't get it together, they're gonna be having that excuse on judgment, the day of judgment, and it's not gonna work. But let us get to the honest truths content where he said this particular video, and it's called Kevin Samuels' Army of Deadbeat Fathers, hashtag the manosphere. So he came at the manosphere, honey. He came for them. And the thing that I don't like is the men that actually stand up for truth, they try to call them simps, because they don't want no correction. They don't want no order. So typically when you come in with that truth, People, you're supposed to be salt of the earth. The truth is an uncomfortable thing. It's supposed to cut like a sword, like a double-edged sword. It's supposed to cut. Because in order for you to get yourself together, you got to be uncomfortable to be comfortable again. And until you confront what your strong man is, bind that strong man, you're going to be dealing with the same situations. And honey, Yah said if only the people that's called by his name humble themselves, honey. They don't want to humble themselves. And if you don't humble yourself, destruction comes. So let me get to the part, y'all, where he starts talking about accountability, because it get good. Alright, y'all, so I'm going to play a little bit of a snippet of what I heard and how I was on the edge of my seat, because I'm like, yes, a man is finally saying what women have been saying forever. Like, oh my gosh, like, there's men out there who are actually like righteous men who understand what it is to be a man, the responsibility. Like, I'm gonna get into all of that, y'all. Let me just play the part like that I was captivated by.
It's not the woman's responsibility to get down on a knee. Now, if the woman was the one that's responsible for getting down on the knee, then yes, I could understand your point of, well, the women want to get married 4 years later. But it's the men who are the ones responsible for proposing the ring. The woman simply has to accept.
So listen, it's in that particular manosphere or whatever it is, in the Kevin Samuels, they're constantly beating down single mothers as if they just decided, let me just be a single mother and do it alone. Let me just go out here and have to get medical insurance for my child, have to pay all of this stuff for school supply, all on my own. I have to just provide all of this, a place to live, all of this, okay, on my own. Go through the 9, because some women be even going through their pregnancy visits, I was going to say videos, on their own, okay? So they're doing the whole process on their own. Like, what woman in their right mind, okay, would decide that that's something they wanted to do, was to bring a child into the world on their own? Yeah, right. The truth be told, that a lot of these men are like their forefather, because they love to talk about King David and King Solomon, both men who were able to provide with resources for a tribe and a family. But they love to use King David a lot as an example. But lust is just basically of women destroyed King David in a lot of ways. And they don't realize that how a child is conceived has a lot to do with things that can happen, like curses, and how their life, how things are going to be done moving forward. That's why Yah wants you to be married in a union, in a covenant with him, so that your child is conceived in a righteous place, so that is a jump start on their future. Not to say that children are not going to be redeemed if you did it out of wedlock, or that they can't be redeemed, but just understand that different curses come when you go outside the laws and practices of the Most High. My videos are not for people that are not into or not for the laws and the statutes of the Most High. So I really, if you not, I really don't really care. Not to be rude, but I'm just more so speaking, from my perspective, and I'm looking at the realistic consequences of us not following these laws and commandments and statutes. Okay, so I'm just speaking from that perspective, because it's very clear that when we do it our own way, it's a complete mess. So
it's not necessarily on the woman's time, bro. It's not on the woman's time.
It is on the woman's time, because you're acting.
And they're also saying that women just somehow just don't want to be married. Like, there's probably a small percentage of women that's on some Greek, type of time, where they just don't want to do that. But the majority of women, or even when you see them as a little girl, how many little girls want to be princesses, and princesses marry the prince, and they twirl around in their little ball gowns and dresses? Like, cut it out, like, stop it.
If she doesn't have the right to say no. Whereas if she wants it so bad,
well, you're assuming, Archer, that you know the time frame that every woman, or how or when every woman says yes or no. None of us can know that number. I'm simply telling you who proposes or initiates the rite of marriage.
So he's already explaining that part of accountability of men control the gateway to marriage, okay? In Hebraic culture, that's how it's always been. If you look at the scriptures, you go and you look at the story where Jacob is trying to get Rachel, and how he had to work for her father to even acknowledge the whole thought of it, like the whole proposal of it. And then even so, he ended up getting Leah first because the father didn't want Leah to be reproached or shamed because she was older. Yeah, I think Leah was older, and so that would have been shameful if her younger sister would have got married first. So back in that time, or how it's supposed to be, courtship was supposed to happen. You would get permission from a young lady's father to see if you were a good candidate for his daughter, okay? So that hedge of covering, that's what rulership is. That covering of protection from the wolves, because the wolves is out here impregnating women and not marrying them. These wicked men, okay? Because that's on the rate we going. It's going to be where these men are not going to have any desire because they're wicked. They're going in another direction. They're going, how they said, their own way. They're telling people to, hit it out the park and never call the girls again. I've seen these videos in that manosphere, okay? They're telling them to do all of that. They're telling them that old women should have chose better. They make fun of single mothers. They're doing all of that. So all that wickedness, honey, just to let it be known, hell is hot. Hell is hot for some of these folks, honey. Waiting on them. Now, anyway.
I don't know the time frame. I don't know if most women say no for a while or if they say yes. We can't know that. I'm simply telling you that men are the ones that approach women with marriage. It's not women who approach men.
But you also can't, just like you can't factually know how many women are saying no, you can't
So,
factually know how many men
this guy, the
proposing
whole
or not.
stream was tripping.
So you're playing that, but that's irrelevant. That's irrelevant because men are the. No, it's not, because men are the ones that propose marriage. Is that not true?
That is factual. You are correct.
Okay, and so like I'm saying, we don't know how many are saying no. We just don't know that.
And we
Okay,
don't know how
but
many
I'm
are
telling you that the men bear the brunt of the responsibility on the time frame of when they propose.
Men bear the brunt of responsibility when it comes to things like proposal, when it comes to providership, when it comes to protection, okay? All of that. Like, this is a man clearly trying to explain to this other man, yo, how are you blaming women for being single mothers and y'all control marriage? You control the gateway to that. What are you talking about? What are you talking about, dude?
For that simple reason alone, more of the time frame of when women get married is based off of the man's action. For that simple fact alone. Because men are the ones that are going through the woman with it. You can say it's incorrect all you want, but it's the man getting down on one knee.
Yes,
it doesn't matter. It doesn't. And listen. It doesn't matter when the woman chooses to accept it or deny it or this or that. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, it's the man coming to her. Okay. So we don't know how many are saying no.
Bro, following that line of logic, we don't know how many women are saying no. Following that line of logic, you don't actually know how many men are proposing.
We clearly know that it's not a lot of men proposing or wanting marriage, because look at how many baby showers there are. Are you seeing a lot of weddings going on in your community? Or is there a lot of children out of wedlock, and it's a kid over here and a baby mama over here and a baby mama over there and a baby mama over there? So let's stop. Can you adequately do your job to provide and protect for your children if you got a child at this household and a child at this household? How are you protecting your children from the ravenous wolves that are out there? You don't know who could come across your child. Like, are you involved in your children's school? You get what I'm saying? To know who's around your child. Most of the time, if you're having to work and then your child is at a different household, you're not seeing everything that's going on to be able to protect adequately, to be able to provide for the child adequately, to be able to bring, like, even the support emotionally that child is going to be looking for from you as a dad, or as I call everybody like a dad, because I feel like there's only one father, which is Abba Yah Most High. But you get the point. Abba Yah is the example and the standard, right? So we're supposed to look at our father as an example of what it is for a woman, what it is to be loved and to be provided for, to be taken care of, because it instructs men specifically to love your wife like Hamashiach loves the church. These men clearly are not loving women the way that they are supposed to, because when you hear their comments, there's always like disdain and bitterness and resentment. Like, some women put them on child support. You always got to hear these child support stories, but they don't look at it like that's judgment for you being lust driven, and you probably not taking that act seriously, because, like, if you don't know, that particular act has great responsibility behind it. So if you do it unpermitted, which you're doing it like just to do it, because most of you don't really know or understand the seriousness of soul ties and how that creates a covenant or an agreement. So if it's outside of Yah and outside of marriage, then your worship is going to the enemy. And if it's righteous and Yah put his stamp of approval on it and gave permission to that, you got your license to do it. So it's worship going to Yah Most High, because clearly he wants you to procreate, but he wants you to do it between man and wife. So a lot of people think it's just, oh, you going to get a paper down at the courthouse. No. A lot of y'all out here probably married to folks, and you're still married to folks, and you ain't renounced none of them soul ties between them folks. You ain't divorced nobody yet, honey. But he's absolutely correct in what he's saying. And of course, y'all know I'm stopping to give commentary in between, because you got to be transformative.
But we know that the men are the ones proposing, do we not?
We do know the men are the ones.
Okay, so let's just leave it there. We can argue for all day on that. The men get down on the knee to propose, and then the women say yes or no. Whether or not they choose to say yes or no, I don't know. But I know that the men go to the women first. And we've heard, by and large, that most black men, especially high-earning black men, don't want to get married in the black community. So we can agree to disagree on that note.
What? Did he just say the high-value man that Kevin Samuels is out here saying that women should don't want to get married anyway because they have endless options of women? Come on. And most of these crusties and dusties ain't even high value where they earning all that money like that. Let's stop it. Like, this is a man saying this. So it's clearly men out here that see what we have to deal with when it comes to the melanated man. It's clear.
Let's move on. Network 44, I know that you're in disagreement and somewhat agreement. It's good to have you back onto the panel. The floor is yours.
All right.
Now listen to this
I
delusion.
think some black women actually go out there to become baby mamas. Let's take Future, for example. Right? From what I understand, this guy has...
Future is like their dusty cape man, or like their dusty superhero who happens to be famous, okay? Like, that is always the line that they use to justify the foolishness. Like, what woman do you know? Okay, first, with them, it's either the woman is a gold digger and all they want me for is my money, or if the woman goes for the person with money, or in this particular situation, like a future old, she was cool with being a baby mama. Hey honeys, thank you for watching my video, and if you haven't, definitely make sure you check out my Teespring, KingBritneyChanel Couture, where you can find my latest merch. I upload a lot of new designs frequently, so definitely make sure you check it out. We have mugs, we have wall tapestries, canvas art, pillows, fleece blankets, apparel, and so much more. Thank y'all for watching, and I'll see y'all on my next video.